Oh, that's annoying. Wow. Okay. Hey guys, how's it going? Firebox here. I want to show you the Cleric kit that I've been running. Ran it for about 3 hours yesterday without dying to great success. Even though Cleric has not been top meta for a while now, it's probably the weakest class right now. The primary meta seems to be Survival Bow, True Damage Spam, or Casters. Really just anything ranged is very strong. That said, Cleric did receive 2 buffs recently, and Ironmace did mention doing some big patches or balance sometime next week. So that said, I want to go ahead and share with you my perks, my skills, my gear set, and I want to give you some PvP tips and really just some things that I've been personally seeing while playing Cleric. It is kind of tough to play this class, but if you can play it well, you can be successful. You don't have to play the current range meta that everyone else is playing. Let's go ahead and get started. For our perks, we're going to be rocking Bolt Weapon Mastery. This recently received a buff from 10 to 15%, which even though it might not sound like a big deal, that is the equivalent of 5 physical power or 5 strength, which is quite strong. Cleric scales pretty well with physical power bonus because your weapon has decently high base damage. Physical power scales better with high damage weapons such as like the Bardiche, the Zwei, whereas the additional damage scales better with quick weapons such as the daggers, like the Rondelle, the Chris Dagger, etc. So because Cleric is in that middle ground of having the maces, so we're dealing about 40 damage a swing, physical power bonus does give us a pretty decent benefits, so I would say this is quite nice. For our other perks, I'm going to be rocking Protection from Evil, Advanced Healer, and Perseverance. This is really the bread and butter perks that I always use, so I'm not going to go too much in depth on them. Just know that Perseverance is really strong. It reduces true damage by 3 and just general damage over time effects, making your matchup against Warlocks a lot better, Rogues a lot better, and it's just good against everything. Protection from Evil is great for reducing the effects of different things. Warlock matchup gets better. Ranger traps have reduced duration, and there's just a lot of things that will just generally be helpful to you to get reduced as well. Magic healing is great, and it's hard to fit everything onto your class. There's a lot of different stuff that you want to build, such as additional magic damage, vigor, strength, agility, dexterity. There's a lot of stats that Cleric really wants. So that said, the extra 5 magic healing is fantastic. Now for the skills, this is where some people might end up disagreeing with me, but I'm going to give you my reasoning for it. Recently, Smite got rebuffed back to 100% magic damage scaling. This means that if you have 10 additional magic damage and you use Smite, you are going to get 10 additional damage per swing. Before it was only 50%, so instead of 10 damage, you get 5. 50% damage scaling Smite is pretty bad for Cleric because your weapons are relatively slow swinging. So with 100% scaling, you would think that Smite would be the better move, but I'm going to tell you why I feel like it's not. Judgment has a few different benefits over Smite. The first benefit is that it does not get countered by Cutthroat Rogue. If you don't know, after you activate Smite, if a Rogue hits you with Cutthroat, your Smite will get completely deleted, and you will not get it back, and your cooldown will start, meaning that Smite is a completely dead perk against any rogues with Cutthroat. And spoiler alert, almost every single rogue in the game is running Cutthroat because it's one of their strongest skills in the game. I just assume every rogue has Cutthroat at this point. So it is something to keep in mind. If you do use Smite, just know that most rogues are not going to be affected by this ability. Second, against classes such as Warlock and Ranger, any class in range really, they're not going to let you get into melee range with Smite, whereas Judgment has some range to it. You can also use Judgment through doors, which you're going to see in some of the PvP in this video. you can use the little door gap and get a free 30 to 40 damage chunk on other players. All magic damage, so most people are going to take almost full from that. It's pretty darn strong. And even though Smite will do more damage over time if someone's in melee fight with you, because Smite lasts for 7 seconds and you can swing a few times, I think in general, Judgment just feels better as having a little bit of range on your Cleric. And it does have the added benefit of slowing down players for about 30% for 2 seconds, which is a nice little bonus. It's not going to be enough to catch up to players if you're running PDR like I am. However, I do think that for this build specifically, Judgment is better than Smite. And I think PDR Cleric right now is probably the best Cleric build right now that you can do. I tried Race Car Cleric, and I really don't think it's as good as PDR Cleric is, because there's so many cutthroat rogues, and they will insta-kill you completely, especially if you're running the Smite Staff variant, because, again, they will disable your Smite, and they'll be able to out-DPS your Magic Staff if that's what you're currently using for your build. For my spells, I'm going to be using Holy Strike, Lesser Heal, Sanctuary, Protection, and you can either use Bless or Divine Strike. Divine Strike is probably stronger here. It just depends on how much knowledge you have. For this build, I used Bless, but to be honest, I probably could have swapped out for Divine Strike. So I'll leave that up to you. Bless is going to give you a little bit of agility and strength, which is kind of nice, but the additional 5 weapon damage might be stronger if you can get somebody to fight you in melee. The problem is most fights are not melee range anymore. It's all range, so Divine Strike doesn't feel like it does a whole lot. At least Bless gives you 3 will, and even though it's not a lot, it does give you a little bit more Holy Strike damage and Judgment damage. So it at least helps you in range, unlike Divine Strike, which doesn't really do anything there. For my gear, I'm going to be rocking Flanged Mace. I think most of Cleric's weapons are not very good right now. The club received multiple nerfs. The Warhammer just kind of sucks. The Morning Star has too much of a weak spot, and the attack pattern doesn't feel that good to me. And the Warmaw doesn't get the benefit from the shield armor. So I think the Flanged Mace is the best weapon Cleric can currently use. I don't think it's a great weapon, but it's the best that we have, so I'd recommend using it. You can choose what shield you want to run, round shield, heater shield, or buckler. All of them are fine. Just make sure you have double armor rolls on them, armor and physical damage reduction. This is definitely the best case scenario for your build, because it's going to help you scale your armor as best as possible. For your spellbook, the only thing that's really important is that you need 3 magic healing. The better rarity you can get, the better. But the magic healing is more important than the magic damage you're going to get. If it's a matter of using a blue or purple spellbook, but the purple spellbook does not have magic healing, I would just use the blue one. They can get quite pricey. For my Hound Skull, I'm going to be rocking armor and magic damage. Either or is going to be fine. I think magic damage is probably more important, but if you can get both, that's even better. For my armor, this is not a super great piece, but it does have armor rating and a little bit of max health, which is great. I would say just make sure that your champion armor has armor rating attached. That's probably the most important stat. Same with heavy leather leggings. Make sure that the leggings you have do have armor rating attached. Secondary stats of max HP are also fantastic. For my boots, I have agility. Preferably, you'd probably want 5 movement speed instead. For your gloves, I'm going to suggest finding additional damage. Really, true damage is best, but it can be additional as well if you can find some better stats attached to it. Things can get a little pricey, especially towards the end of wipe. These that I found have +2 agility on top, and extra speed is always nice, because we are a little bit slow as a PDR Cleric. For your cloak, I'm going to recommend not going for armor rolls here. Instead, go for action speed. The cloak has a really high action speed roll percentage right now. This one has 3%, which is a pretty big deal. So I think most people are not going for the stat right now in general. This was pretty cheap. I think I bought this for about 250 gold. Go for additional magic damage or true magic damage and action speed rolls. Anything base stat is fine. Dexterity, health, strength. Really, it's all good. For the rings, I decided to go for Rings of Courage to try to make our Flanged Mace do a little bit more damage. You could also opt for Vigor Rings as well. But the thing that made me go with these Courage Rings is I found some additional magic damage and armor rolls that were pretty cheap. No one's really going for magic and armor rolls right now together. So these were only about 400 gold a piece when I bought them. I'm sure they're much more expensive now. But that said, this is a pretty good idea, I think, for your rings and your necklace as well. Just always try to go for the additional armor and magic damage because it all just scales really well together. The higher your PDR and the higher your HP, the harder it is for your enemies to kill you. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? And the necklace of peace is what I'm going to recommend going for. If you can't get a max rolled, that's fine. But the amount of health that you're grabbing from this necklace is very, very good. And probably the best in slot for Cleric. And most classes, really. 9 HP is really hard to get by any other means from just one slot. I also want to go over my stats real quick. I know my webcam might have been blocking it before, so I went ahead and moved it for you. So we're going to be rocking 148 HP total, with 87% movement speed, 8% action speed, 25% spellcast speed, 54% PDR, but just know with the shield out, we're sitting at about 66% PDR total, 14% magic resistance, 8% physical power bonus, and 20% magic power bonus. From what I've seen, I don't think Will is ever worth building. I think just going for the additional magic damage alone is just best. Instead of grabbing Will, you want to build other stats instead because it's just going to help you a lot more. Primarily the Vigor rolls because it just scales so well with PDR. I want to briefly give you some PvP tips from what I think has been helping me improve. First things first, try to stay outside of the map. Don't rush into center. This class is not very good at 2v1ing, and it's not good at fighting in the big center arena zone, which is in Goblin Caves. I try to stick to the outer edges to find fair 1v1s in more confined quarters. I also try to stay away from wizards, warlocks, and rangers. I fight them if I have to, but I don't force fights for the most part. The reality is this class is not made to fight them very well. You're very limited on range, your only options being Holy Strike, which only has 4 charges, and Judgment if you even have it. If you take Smite, you're even more limited in your ranged options. This means that your best matchups are going to be Fighters and Barbarians, which even though it's only 2 classes, a lot of people play Fighter and Barbarian right now in general. You're also pretty decent against Rogues. You can't really catch them if they don't want to fight you, but it's also kind of hard for them to kill you if you're in full PDR. This is the benefit of running PDR over Race Car. PDR is able to withstand that Landmine Rogue initial burst damage. For general PvP, I would recommend just trying to play around doorways for the most part. Because Judgment can hit through the little windows in doors, it results in a shockingly large amount of free hits that you're going to see in some of the PvP. And if you can get a free Judgment off, if they decide to fight you, you're going to have an advantage. And if they don't, well then, I mean, you survive, right? Because they're going to run off and go heal or do whatever they're going to do. I think that's probably one of my favorite things as Cleric is that you have the ability to not only reset yourself at a door, but you can basically force someone to not be able to push you because it's really hard for them to open that door if there's a window and you have Judgment readily available. Other than that, this is really just a tough class to play. There's a ton of range play going on right now. Survivable true damage, wizard, caster, warlocks, rangers. It's all there, and it's all against you because you're playing a class that doesn't really have a lot of range. But this class is quite fun, so I play it anyway. Solo Cleric is one of the hardest classes to play right now. Hopefully this guide makes it just a little bit easier for you to make a build and be able to do well. With wipe in only about a week, I am curious what changes ends up happening. My hope is that the range meta goes away a little bit and maybe you can start playing Solo Cleric a little bit more competitively. Right now, it's hard to play this class because you just kind of get kited by everybody. But with that said, I want to go ahead and get into some of the PvP of this video. So I hope you enjoyed this guide. Let's go ahead and get started. What do we do? buff and just go? Yeah, probably. Isn't that the fighter? Where'd the rogue go? Huh. I think there's multiple people here. Feels good to be king. You chicken. God damn it. Well, I'm out of holy strikes now, so I guess I have to leave, huh? It's not worth resting. I hit the wrong button. I'm glad he wasn't geared. Yeah. It's just... This is every fight, man. So, that Warlock, I can't really fight him. Well, I can fight him, but it's not quite that easy. He counters me. Currently. Like, it's just, it is what it is. Yes! Throws armor back on in 2 seconds. I mean, right now it is what it is, man. If I don't take my armor off, then I'm too slow. Watch out, there's a rogue. Yeah, I mean, it is scary, but yeah. Hopefully he doesn't catch me while I'm down here. He took off his chest piece too. Where did I get shot at from? Oh. Wait, he was invis, but I could see his hands? Wait, what? Did you guys see that? Well, that was funny looking. It's a bug? Oh boy. Another bug. Landmine barbs? Well, every class was landmine, but yeah. The invis potions, that was wild. Dude, our ranger's annoying. That's deserved. That is 100% deserved. Oh, it's the barb. Okay, well. I definitely want to fight barb. I should counter barb. I should. Unless he has armor pen skill. Yeah, I'm not friendly, man. Barb running? Why is the barb running? Okay, well. You goofed up, didn't you? Doing, buddy. Oh my god. Okay. Alright. Sorry about that. pretty sure my guy was trying to learn how to play the game. Just judging by his inventory. The only reason he was even in this lobby was because he brought so many potions. Oh, and I guess a few legendary stuff. But legendary gear with gray weapons is wild. Oh my god, it's a Chad Cleric. I haven't had a Cleric 1v1 in months. I mean, it's been a long time. There he goes. I bet that hurt more than you hurt me. Think I killed him? He has to. He thought I wasted my judgment, by the way. Did you guys notice the tomfoolery I did? I specifically canceled the judgment before it got deleted, so he would think I was out of a judgment. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to like the video, sub for future content, and comment below what your thoughts are of this Cleric build. I do want to thank Justin Doob, Trash Daddy, and Barty for supporting this video, alongside my other members. Thank you all. Have a great day.